Anubhav, symptoms of ecstatic love. The bodily symptoms which are manifested by a devotee in expressing ecstatic love for Krishna are called Anubhav. Practical examples of Anubhavs are as follows: dancing, rolling on the ground, singing very loudly, stretching the body, crying loudly, yawning, breathing very heavily, neglecting the presence of others, drooling like a madman, wheeling the head and belching. These are all directly from Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu. This is excellent. When there is an extraordinary excess of ecstatic love, with all of these bodily symptoms manifested, one feels relieved transcendentally. Anubhavs refer to those things which express the bhav situated in the heart. They are predominantly external transformations and are thus called udbhaswara or shining.
This is actually in the beginning of the section on
Yeah,
Anubhava Prabhu, and
yeah,
it's a direct quote from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu defining Anubhava.
yeah. hmm Should I go on or?
Sure. Well, do you want to speak a little and then go into the examples? Your
Yeah.
your your
So
flow.
I think everything is going to come up in the examples itself. But Anubhav also, really, if you think about it, literally means Anu means to follow. So those feelings that follow in the wake of an exchange between the subject of love and the object of love is called an Anubhav. So in digestible terms for us, for example, if you have a very loved one, it could be a family member, significant other, whatever it might be. I'll give an example related to us that would illustrate it. If your loved one suddenly calls and says, "There's good news. We've somehow or another got a great success of some sort or another, and this particular thing is going to happen. And so we got a house that we wanted," whatever it might be, the feelings immediately that are expressed from that information will make you happy. You say, "Wow, yes, great," so forth, so on. So that's an Anubhav. So there's two people, the object of love and the subject of love, and you're giving exchange of information, and that gives you rise to giving an expression. That expression that's external like that with the application of your intelligence, yes, I'm glad this is happening, really great. That's called Udbhaswara. When those things happen, and I'm not discussing this section, someone else is going to discuss it, but if those things happen without the application of intelligence, but they happen due to what is called sattva or natural circumstances, I'll give an example of that. If you are at home and your beloved is out and it's very late at night and they have not returned home, and suddenly your phone rings and you pick up the phone and someone says, "Good evening, this is Trooper so and so from the state police. There's been an accident." Even without hearing the rest of that statement, given all the circumstances present, your heart starts beating faster. And then they say, "Is your loved one's name so and so?" And you faint. Understand? So this is an example of a sattvic Anubhav.
If you could,
Relate.
Mukunda,
Mhm.
please try to stay on the Anubhas because
Yeah, somebody else is going
you're bleeding into
into
other
the other
topics.
section.
I want to try and keep these categories
Separated.
in their boxes, and then show how they bleed together later on. But
Okay. Yeah, I want to do that to separate what
yeah,
is good
thank you.
Baswara from what will be discussed later as sattvic.
Okay,
So you want to go back to the reading and then we'll go on from there, or?
sure. Give me a sec.
Examples of Anubhav that are given in Sastra. So in 1029, which is the Pranay Geet, it's the beginning of the Rasa dance. Some gopis were in such a rush that they could not distinguish hand from foot or nose from ear, and they put the ornaments in the wrong places, as shown by the word vatasya disray, means disray. So vyatasya means disray. Their behavior indicates vibram, bewilderment, one of the Anubhavs, bodily transformations indicating ecstatic love. So again, here there's a little bit of a bleed because there's one Anubhav, which is called Moheya Bhave Savatma Vishwaranam Sada. So that kind of bleeds into Sattvic Vichar, into Sattvic Bhavs. You understand? So it's a little difficult because they do kind of bleed into each other. So that's an example when the gopis were preparing to go to Ras and they heard the Venunad, means the sound of Krishna's flute. Immediately, whatever they were doing, they put aside.
Okay,
Also, if they were getting dressed or putting on their kajal or makeup, it says sometimes they would put the makeup on the hand instead of the.
right.
Sometimes they put,
We're gonna be reading this right this second.
oh, really? Okay, bring it back up.
That's so. This is going to be with that good explanation of Anubhav. This is what it is. This is the actual meaning,
Substance.
and it's the substance, and again, the perfect example of Anubhav.
One of the points that I found helped me to digest the concept of Anubhava is this, where it says it refers to those things which express the bhava situated within the heart. So they're hearing the flute and their hearts are affected. Then their physical actions which correspond to those feelings are the anubhavas. That's what manifests. So putting ornaments in the wrong place, becoming bewildered is more of an internal experience. That's like you said, it bleeds with the sattvika and the outward. But the anubhava is basically the outward expression of a bhava situated within the heart. So let us switch over now to the texts themselves and try to see how that particular, how the Anubhava is manifested in the gopis. So the person can read.
Bahushra, maybe Bahushra can read as we progress here. Would you like to read Bahushra?
Thank you, Mukunda.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Immediately, text 4 through 9, Krishna book. Immediately upon hearing the vibration of the flute, they all left their respective engagements and proceeded to the spot where Krishna was standing. While they ran very swiftly, all their earrings swung back and forth. They all rushed toward the place known as Vamshivat. Some of them were engaged in milking cows, but they left their milking business half finished and immediately went to Krishna. One of them had just collected milk and put it in a milk pan on the oven to boil, but she did not care whether the milk overboiled and spilled. She immediately left to go see Krishna. Some of them were breastfeeding their small babies, and some of them were engaged in distributing food to the members of their families. But they all left such engagements and immediately rushed towards the spot where Krishna was playing his flute. Some were engaged in serving their husbands. Some were themselves engaged in eating, but neither caring to serve their husbands nor eat, they immediately left. Some of them wanted to decorate their faces with cosmetic ointments and to dress themselves very nicely before going to Krishna, but unfortunately they could not finish their cosmetic decorations, nor put on their dresses in the right way because of their anxiety to meet Krishna immediately. Their faces were decorated hurriedly and were haphazardly finished, and some even put the lower part of their dresses on the upper part of their bodies and the upper part on the lower part.
Okay. Thank you, Pati.
I was just going to say, are those anubhavas? Are those examples of somebody doing something physically that's manifested what's in their heart? Anybody have any clarity on that?
Yeah, very clear. Perfect example of the gopis.
I was reading is that because it mentions there about their earrings, that it's mentioned in Madhya Lila chapter 8, verse 179 and verse 166. It says, Radharani's earrings are the holy names of Krishna as well as the hearing of his name and fame. Srimati Radharani's earrings are the name, fame, and qualities of Krishna. The glories of Lord Krishna's name, fame, and qualities are always inundating her speech. So it's just, totally.
That's wonderful. That's what we want. That's what we want. Remember when Lord Chaitanya was cleaning the Gundicha temple, everybody was talking to each other, but saying Hare Krishna, 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 and go get a bucket, go get a rag. But everyone knew what they were, but they just said Hare Krishna. That was the only words of conversation. Okay.
Okay, now we go to the next.
Okay, Premananda. I thought maybe Premananda could read.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bhushaji.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
While all the gopis were hurriedly leaving their respective places, their husbands, brothers, and fathers were all struck with wonder to know where they were going. Being young girls, they were protected either by husbands, elderly brothers, or fathers. All their guardians forbade them to go to Krishna, but they disregarded them. When a person becomes attracted by Krishna and is in full Krishna consciousness, he does not care for any worldly duties, even though very urgent. Krishna consciousness is so powerful that it gives everyone relief from all material activities. Srila Rupa Goswami has written a very nice verse wherein one gopi advises another. My dear friend, if you desire to enjoy the company of material society, friendship and love, then please do not go to see the smiling boy, Govinda, who is standing on the bank of the Yamuna and playing his flute, his lips brightened by the beams of the full moonlight. Srila Rupa Goswami indirectly instructs that one who has been captivated by the beautiful smiling face of Krishna has lost all attraction for material enjoyments. This is the test of advancement in Krishna consciousness. A person advancing in Krishna consciousness must lose interest in material activities and personal sense gratification.
Okay, Premananda, I just have one question before we go on. Do you find that happening to you?
Not to the extent it's mentioned here, but
Okay, of course not. Do you find it happening?
yeah, some attraction, yes. But I wish it were more.
Yeah, well, I think it's safe to say that we all have found it, that we'd much prefer associate like this than be in the material world. And that's why we're here. And for this, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for your sangha. Okay, so Bhante, should we just go on and then have a discussion, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so Ranga Bhatti, my dear god sister, would you like to read? Which one does she read, Bhatti?
Some of the gopis were factually detained. We read that. No, that's where.
No, we didn't. We didn't read that.
Right.
Some of the gopis factually detained. Ranga, you have to unmute. Unmute, Ranga. You can't. Okay, we'll come back to you. Okay, because I can't hear you, sweetie. I can't hear anything. Maybe it's my phone. Let's go on with Tisha. Tisha, my dear Tisha, would you like to read? But you have to unmute.
Thank you. Priya Mataji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Okay. Some of the gopis were factually detained from going to Krishna by their husbands and were locked up by force within their rooms. Being able to go to Krishna, they began to meditate upon his transcendental form by closing their eyes. They already had the form of Krishna within their minds. They proved to be the greatest yogis. As is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, a person who is constantly thinking of Krishna within his heart with faith and love is considered to be the topmost of all yogis. Actually, a yogi concentrates his mind on the form of Lord Vishnu. That is real yoga. Krishna is the original form of all Vishnu tattvas. The gopis could not go to Krishna personally, so they began to meditate on him as perfect yogis.
Go on, read the next one.
In the conditioned stage of the living entities, there are two kinds of results of fruitive activities. The conditioned living entity who is constantly engaged in sinful activities has suffering as his result, and he who is engaged in pious activities has material enjoyment as a result. In either case, material suffering or material enjoyment, the enjoyer or sufferer is conditioned by material nature.
So, Sesha, this also answers the question, as long as that you asked before, how as long as we're involved in any way in the material energy and identifying with being this body and relating to each other as though others are their body, then we're not going to be in a good condition. Then we're not going to be happy, and we're not going to achieve Krishna. It'll just stay on the superficial platform.
Thank you. As we're reading this, Sama,
Yes.
I'm thinking of a good way to do this would be now, rather than going to the groups of gopis, let's read Sarartha Darshini's commentaries on the same verses we just read from Krishna book, and then we'll go back to the groups. So I'm going ahead now to Sarartha Darshini,
Okay.
and we'll go from here, because that will show how Srila Prabhupada used Vishwanath's commentary and
Okay.
composed his own.
Okay. Madhurya Leela, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hare
Hello,
Krishna.
my darling. Would you like to read?
Sure. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam 10:29-4, Sarartha Darshini. When the young women of Vrindavan heard Krishna's flute song, which arouses romantic feelings, their minds were captivated by the Lord. They went to where their lover waited, each unknown to the others, moving so quickly that their earrings swung back and forth. Commentary. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, okay, that's by him. The gopis went towards Krishna as if they were puppets pulled by the strings of his flute song. That dulcet song was not only alluring, but it also increased their love, anga. Krishna instigated a terrible act of thievery in Vrindavan when he played on his flute. The song of Krishna's flute passed through the ears of the gopis and entered the treasure chambers of their hearts. That wonderful music stole all their most valuable possessions, their sobriety, shyness, fear, and discrimination, along with their very minds. And in a split second, this music delivered all these goods to Krishna. Thus afflicted, each beautiful Kishori was thinking, I have to capture that great thief. And thus they went forward, each unknown to the others. They began to chase the thief to catch him and retrieve their property. Where did they go? The gopis' earrings were swinging as they rushed to that place where their beloved was standing. The word kundala, earrings, also indicates their bracelets and anklets were swinging too. It appears that thief did not consider the gopis' external ornaments worthy of stealing.
Hare Krishna. Pati, should we discuss or should we go on? Thank you, Madhurya ji. You have to unmute.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we should continue,
Okay, and then we'll
because
have some-
that way it puts it into a package and then discuss it.
Okay. Mukunda ji, would you mind reading this next section, just this little one? I know you spoke already.
Yes. Some of the gopis were milking cows when they heard Krishna's flute. They stopped milking and went off to meet him. Some left milk curdling on the stove, and others left cakes burning in the oven. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, 3 verses 5-7 describe the gopis' complete absence of attachment to their duties in their haste to meet Krishna. The gopis could not wait a second, so they neglected all of their duties based on I and mine. Some of them even left aside the particular duties of their social class. The gopis engaged in milking the cows abandoned this work and went off. Some gopis left pots of milk boiling on the stove, and others left wheat cakes baking in the oven.
Okay.
This next part here is really important because it's going to make a distinction.
Okay. I'm going to have the Kadasi Vrat, the Kadasi ji. Welcome if you're here.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Krishna, please read this for us.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Text 6-7, Sarartha Darshini. Some of them were getting dressed, feeding milk to their infants, or rendering personal service to their husbands. But they all gave up these duties and went to meet Krishna. Other gopis were taking their evening meals, washing themselves, putting on cosmetics, or applying kajal to their eyes. But all the gopis stopped these activities at once, and, though their clothes and ornaments were in complete disarray, rushed off to Krishna. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. These two verses describe how the gopis gave up their duties as wives and mothers. While engaged in dressing, they abandoned that business and failed to dress themselves adequately. Some stopped bringing warm water to their husbands and rendering other services such as serving food. I can't see the bottom part. Such as serving food. While cleansing their bodies with oils, bathing, and anointing themselves with turmeric and sandalwood paste, they dropped everything and hurried out of their homes. Some gopis were in such a rush that they could not distinguish hand from foot or nose from ear, and thus put their ornaments in the wrong place, as shown by the word vyatsyasta, disarray. Their behavior indicates vibhrama, bewilderment, one of the anubhavas, bodily transformations indicating ecstatic love. Vibhrama is described in Ujjvala Nilamani, Anubhava Prakarana. Text 34. Hastily preparing to meet her lover, the bewildered heroine may place her necklace, flower garland, and other ornaments in the wrong places. This is called Vibhrama.
These are all anubhavas. Okay,
Mukunda,
yeah, I
can
was
you
just going to ask him.
Yeah, can you take a second and explain how Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu first describes like the category and then goes into some of the examples like this is here.
Yeah, and Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu actually, he kind of describes the meaning of the various things. In Ujjvala Mani more, he'll describe a particular thing and almost immediately afterwards give an example of it in a particular lila.
Some devotees might not know what Ujjvala Nilamani is, so please clarify.
The Ujjvala Mani was, I would say it's the sequel to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami wrote Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, described the tattva, so to speak, of love of God. When he came to the section on Madhurya Rasa, he decided to write a separate treatise, so to speak, on Madhurya Rasa specifically, because it is the dominant mood in our line coming from Mahaprabhu. So he wrote a book called Ujjvala Nilamani, which is pretty voluminous. And there he goes through several things that describe all the details of Madhurya Rasa. He again touches on the other rasas, but mostly in relationship to how they are related to Madhurya Rasa.
So what's happening right in this Vibhrama is that they're hearing Krishna's flute, and they first of all they give up their duties, but it almost seems like there's a progressive absorption as they're simultaneously giving up something. Their attraction for it is increasing, and they're starting to obviously it's not instantaneous. As you stop something and start to go toward another things, there's a gradual transition from one state of consciousness to another. They're sitting in their houses, they're serving their families, and they hear the flute. So all of a sudden they're transformed, and as they're starting to get ready, they're becoming more and more bewildered. Vibhrama.
Yeah, not quite. Actually, this mood started from Kaliya Damodar Lila. The first time they started coming into an age of maturation as young girls, that was the first time at Kaliya Damodar Lila, when they chastised Kaliya, that they saw Krishna sort of like, oh, wow, he was previously looked at as like a boy in our village, but now he's kind of cute, he's handsome. So from that time on, this is called Pura Varag, an intensity of their desire to associate with him developed. It progresses through the time to Govardhan Lila, then the stealing of the clothes, and then finally in the 8th year, on this night, that thing had built up over the course of years, sort of explodes upon hearing the sound of the flute directly calling them.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's continue back. Well, we did read about some of the husbands trying to stop them. So Sama, we'll go to that section now and have another reader.
Bahusha has a question first.
Just a quick question is that we read about how the gopis reacted. Have we ever read anything anywhere that talks about how the family members reacted? Because Krishna's flute is going to totally, destroy everyone's,
Yes, it'll be fully described
In the next
uh,
command.
and next sections,
Mhm.
not just one purport, but there's a few places where hints are given, and then further realization and details are supplied.
Oh, another one, Jagrini ji.
I just wanted to say quick, comes to mind are, as we read these transcendental literatures, which are way above my understanding and feelings, but I always try to relate to, is there something that I have experienced that reminds me of these transcendental feelings that the gopis had? And this verse brings to mind how we all left to follow Prabhupada.
Nice.
Without considering how our families were going to react, without considering how much money we would make in the future, without considering anything, we just were attracted. And as Dhruva Maharaj Prabhu said, the further we got into it, the more attraction we got, and it's a similar kind of a intoxication, if you could call it that.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Nice
That's
point. Thank you.
exactly. And
Yeah.
actually, our parents were bewildered,
Oh,
and they were hurt too. They were
Yeah.
hurt, but we were too young to really understand that
Yeah.
they were really hurt.
I wasn't very tactful in how I handled it.
None of us were. Oh my God. Anyway, that's true. That's our saving grace. That Prabhupada we ran. What was that thing that he told Tamal? Tamal Krishna was thinking, I have no love for Krishna. I have nothing. I mean, I have nothing to offer you. I'm not such a great devotee. And then Prabhupada said, yes. Yes, he said, yes.
Yes.
But when I called, you ran.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're all, thank you, Prabhupada.
Dhruva, just one thing quickly before we go, and just
Uh-huh.
to answer Prabhuji's point. The family members did not hear the flute. Only the gopis
Right.
heard the flute.
Yeah, nice point. Madan had his
See,
hand up. son.
Yoga Maya is right there. Okay, Madanji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I was just thinking, when Prabhupada chants Hare Krishna, that had the same potency for us. That shadow attachment came right away. You could expand on it if you like.
Wonderful. Like Krishna's flute, we just heard. I think Bharucha was saying how it says in the text that the flute is the sound of the Hare Krishna mantra. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think I sent it around to some people we sent it that it was, that's the sound of Krishna's flute. So we actually heard Krishna's flute by Prabhupada's words calling us. We're very fortunate for that. All right, so let's go on. Shruti Rupa, would you like to read? And if you don't want to, that's cool too. Shruti?
I'll read if you like.
Okay, darling, good. Text 8.
Their husbands, okay, you want me to put it on?
Yes, their husbands. Go on.
Their husbands, fathers, brothers, and other relatives tried to stop them, but Krishna had already stolen their hearts. Enchanted by the sound of his flute, they refused to turn back. Commentary. Out of extreme love, the gopis gave up all duties. That is expected, but how could their husbands and other relatives give up their concern about them? This is replied to in this verse. Though the husbands tried to stop their wives and the fathers tried to stop their unmarried daughters, they could not dissuade them from going because their very souls had been stolen by Govinda. What to speak of the gopis, fear, shame, and self-control. Thus the Vraja gopis moved as if they were in a trance, mohita, like puppets pulled by strings. How could their husbands, who out of fear of losing their reputation, would ordinarily never allow even the young girls' dead bodies to go alone into the forest at night, tolerate letting their wives go away in such a crazed state? This being true, Krishna's internal potency, Yogamaya unfolded the entire romantic episode without interference. Yogamaya did this by producing replica bodies of the gopis, who then stayed in their husbands' homes, while the original spiritual bodies of the gopis ran into the forest with Govinda.
just one thing. Up until the replica bodies, we can pretty much identify with the whole thing with Prabhupada pulling us like that. But
Mhm.
so I mean, safe to say that it's not exactly the same, but it was a very.
So I think it was Bahushra that was asking about the parents, Bahushra, the husbands and fathers. Do we ever hear about them? Here's the answer, that Yogamaya herself created replica bodies. So it'll be described in the next purports too, that the spiritual bodies of the gopis were what went to dance with Krishna, but the Mayak bodies, also spiritual, it'll be described later, just like with Sita, the time that Ravana stole her away. It's said that he never touched the real Sita. There was a Maya Sita produced by Yogamaya. So in one sense, it's spiritual, but it's not the actual original entity. So in the same way, the gopis were able to leave their homes, and their husbands weren't envious or disturbed because they thought that they had stopped them and that they were still at home. However, there were groups, and some of them that this didn't happen to, so let's read this next purport.
Okay.
Maybe what we can do is go back up to Prabhupada's Krishna book before we read that last one. Okay? Going back up to Krishna book now for this last paragraph.
Oh, the whole big last paragraph. Jagarini, why don't you read that?
Okay. The Gopi associates of Krishna who assemble in the place where Krishna is appearing are from different groups. Most of the gopis are eternal companions of Krishna. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitapi. Thank you. In the spiritual world, the associates of Krishna, especially the gopis, are the manifestation of the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. They are expansions of Srimati Radharani. But when Krishna exhibits his transcendental pastimes within the material world, in some of the universes, not only the eternal associates of Krishna come, but also those who are being promoted to that status from this material world. The gopis who joined Krishna's pastimes within this material world were coming from the status of ordinary human beings. If they had been bound by fruit of action, they were fully freed from the reaction of karma by constant meditation on Krishna. Their severe, painful yearnings caused by their not being able to see Krishna freed them from all sinful reactions, and their ecstasy of transcendental love for Krishna in his absence was transcendental to all their reactions of material pious activities. The conditioned soul is subjected to birth and death either by pious or sinful activities. But the gopis who began to meditate on Krishna transcended both positions and became purified, and thus elevated to the status of the gopis, already expanded by his pleasure potency. All the gopis who concentrated their minds on Krishna in the spirit of paramour love became fully uncontaminated from all the fruitive reactions of material nature, and some of them immediately gave up their material bodies, developed under the three modes of material nature.
Actually, you want to go on, or
Yeah, I think that would be
going
the
on to
best.
the
Let's
next
go down
section?
and read the
Okay.
last verse.
Okay, that's the last verse in the whole thing?
Yep.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's a
well,
long
that's
purport,
a
though.
long purport. Okay. Ranga, are you fixed up to read, or just go like this if you can't? Ranga? Because I can't hear you unless you unmute. No one can hear you, sweetie. Oh,
Ranga raised her hand.
okay. Ranga, you raised. There you are. Can you speak? I don't.
You
She's
unmute
still
by
on- Still on mute.
She's still on mute.
unmute by clicking the little speaker icon at the bottom of the Zoom page.
Can you unmute her, Patty?
No, all it does is say ask her to unmute.
I don't think she can. I don't think she can find it.
Ranga, are you on your phone or are you on the computer?
She
Can't
don't
hear
get,
you.
she can't hear.
It's a
All right.
microphone icon then.
It looks like a little microphone, Ranga.
Go down, take your cursor and go down. It says audio, video, participants. Click audio.
All the way down at the bottom of the screen, all the way to the, to the left. Can you see it?
No,
She's-
it doesn't.
I can't read her lips. All right, sweetie, we're gonna have to pass that for now. Tisha, why don't you read, darling? Would you like to read? Did you
have,
read?
yeah, she did. We have a few
Oh, I'm
people
sorry.
here who haven't read yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Akoranath.
I'd be happy to read.
Yeah, Akoranath will be.
Text 9, Sarartha Darshini. Some of the gopis, however, could not manage to get out of their houses, and instead they remained home with eyes closed, meditating upon him in pure love. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Sri Rupa Goswami describes in Ujjvala Nilamani that there are two categories of gopis, the eternally perfect Nitya Siddhas, and those who have become perfect by practicing Bhakti Yoga Sadhana Siddhas. The Sadhana Siddhas are of two categories, those who belong to special groups and those who do not. There are also two classes of the gopis belonging to special groups, namely the Shruticharis, who come from the group of personified Vedas, and the Rishicharis, who come from the group of sages who saw Lord Ramachandra in the Dandakaranya forest. This same fourfold categorization of the gopis is given in Padma Purana. Quote, it is understood that some of the gopis are personified Vedic literatures, while others are reborn sages, daughters of cowherds, or demigod maidens. But by no means, my dear king, are any of them ordinary humans, unquote.
We had a nice post. Some of the people on this Zoom meeting are not part of the online website, but one of the devotees, Premananda from New Vrindavan, made a nice chart and posted it of all these different gopis and how they fit into the different categories. So you might check your emails if you haven't seen that.
Okay. And everybody is welcome to join that online study group where everything is posted and discussed. And there are beautiful descriptions by the devotees and their realizations. Thakur Murari, would you like to read?
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
All right, why don't you read slowly and clearly?
I try, or as I send an interpreter. Okay, so here we are informed that although the gopis appear to be human cohort girls, they actually were not. Thus, the contention that they are mortals is refuted. Daughters of cohorts, referred to as gopi kanyas, must be eternally perfect, since we never hear of them having executed any sadhana. Their apparent sadhana of worshipping the goddess Katyayani in the role of gopis merely manifests their manner of staying like human beings. The Bhagavatam narrates the account of this worship only to show how they had fully taken on the role of court girls. That the Gopa Kanya gopis are actually Nitya Siddhas, eternally perfect devotees of Lord, is established by a statement in Brahma Samhita, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhav Tabihi, which proves that the gopis are Sri Krishna's spiritual potency. Similarly, we have the words of the Gautamiya Tantra, Ladine Ya Maha Shaktihi. Further corroboration of their eternal perfection is that these gopis, being co-eternal with their beloved Lord Krishna, are mentioned along with him in the 18-syllable Krishna mantra, the 10-syllable mantra, and others. Moreover, the worship of these mantras and also the Shrutis that present them has been in existence since time immemorial.
Okay, now before we go on, we need some explanations from some experts here about actually what this paragraph says. Pati, are you here?
Yeah.
Let us start.
Basically, it says that there are two different kinds. There's the Nityasiddhas and the Sadhanasiddhas. And it's talking about how the Gopi Kanyas, the ones who are daughters of cowherd boys, are Nityasiddhas, eternally perfect. Whereas the others are Sadhanasiddhas coming from other universes and manifest, take birth in the wombs of gopis, and by their association with the Nityasiddhas, we'll read, become more purified of all tinges that might still be lingering amongst them.
Anyone else have something to say about that? Okay.
Yeah, here, Mata, my hand's up.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
in Garga Samhita, it goes into great detail about the different ones who became gopis in Krishna's Leela, and from the different backgrounds that they came from. So that's in Canto 4, Garga Samhita, Canto 4, Madhurya Kanda. In the one volume set, it's in page 265. And then you can categorize, it helps. It goes along with Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's mention of what we're reading right now.
A little bit technically difficult for people who are not familiar with this, but by hearing, just by hearing, even if it's not fully understood, we become purified. Because this is, as we spoke before, the essence of everything. The topmost activity of Krishna is this Rasa Leela pastime. And Srila Prabhupada has, though we are and were, what does we go were, unable to understand it on a very deep spiritual platform, just by hearing it, Krishna gave us, Srila Prabhupada gave us this Krishna book so early in our spiritual life, which is an indication that just by hearing it, we will get purified, so eventually we can understand it and develop Krishna prema.
I want to clarify that paragraph that Thakur Murari just read. That entire paragraph is about the Nityasiddhas. It's going to go on to talk about the other people subsequently. I went to the bathroom, so I didn't hear him completely read the whole thing.
Public announcement.
So, well, anyway, so...
Okay.
You asked me right when I sat down again. That's why.
Okay.
There's one point that may be important for us, and that's that the description of these gopis who are going to Ras Leela to dance with Krishna, in our line coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has mentioned in Jaiva Dharma is available for us, is a position called Nitya Sakhi, means manjaris. So we will go to serve Radhika at the Ras Leela dance, but the jivas who are following our line, they will not become like Lalita Visakha and other gopis like that. That's why in the Tulsi prayer we say, E Nivedena Dara, Sakhi, meaning Lalita Visakha, others, Anugata Koro, may I become like your maidservants to serve Radhika. So our line is primarily Manjari Bhav, like this.
Okay, and if we bring it to Lord Chaitanya also, because that's how we're going to understand anything about Radha and Krishna.
Yes.
When Lord Chaitanya was caught in the fisher net and in the ocean, and then devotees saw him and screaming Hare Krishna mantra to him, he said, "Where am I? Why'd you bring me back? I was with Radha and Krishna. I was on the shore watching." So that's also a confirmation. But we'll get there.
Let's continue on with these other ones now.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Okay, my question is, that when Krishna played the flute and all the gopis went, nobody else knew that the gopi are so and so is being called. Now, did the manjaris also hear, because they don't participate in the rasa dance, I'm assuming?
No assumptions here.
They do participate. They do not directly dance with Krishna. They're there to serve Radhika.
So did they also hear the flute? That's my question.
Yes. Mentions clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, they hear.
We'll also read, there's a section ahead where I've inserted some of Chaitanya Charitamrita and other literatures, And when Lord Chaitanya's meditating and entering into the Leela in his inner bhav, he's also participating in the mood of a servant of those gopis. So we'll see how that manifests.
And, you know, just a small thing also, as we follow this discipline of chanting and hearing, or opposite, hearing and chanting, then we'll eventually understand our relationship in that spiritual realm with Krishna. And that's Bhakti Vinod, that's Srila Prabhupada. That's what, before we can understand what our form is in the spiritual world, let's start not the body and with the servants of Krishna, and try to control our understanding that the difference between matter and spirit. So I agree with what Mukunda said, but it's so vast, that topic. Let's just one thing at a time get there, because we're all individuals. We all have a relationship that's an individual relationship with Krishna. And when we finally are aware of that, we will be completely satisfied. Completely.
Let's move on.
Okay, we're moving on. Sorry. Okay, so Chaitamayi, my darling, would you like to read? Starting at the Shudikari Gopis.
Pranams, everyone. So nice to be with the beautiful devotees today. So I'm starting which paragraph here?
The Deva Kanyas.
Thank you, Prabhu. The Deva Kanyas, daughters of the demigods, who are mentioned in the verse beginning Shambhavast Vamar Striya, are explained in the Sri Ujjvala Nilamani as partial expansions of the Nitya Siddha Gopis. That the Shrutichari Gopis, the personified Vedas, are sadhana siddha is understood from the following words of theirs quoted in the Brihad Vamana Purana. Since we have seen your face, which possesses the beauty of millions of cupids, our minds have become lusty after you, like those of young girls. And we have forgotten all other allurements. We have developed the desire to act towards you, as do the gopis, who dwell on your transcendental planet and who manifest the nature of Cupid by worshiping you with the idea that you are their paramour.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let's go on reading, and we'll have more discussion in a minute. Madhu, do you want to read? Madhumati? Thank you, Chaita.
Jai.
Are you with us, Madhu?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sweetie. Why don't you read?
The Rishichari Gopis are also sadhana siddha, as stated in Ujjvala Nilamani. Previously, they were all Maharishis living in Dandaka forest. We find evidence for this in the Padma Purana Uttarakhanda. The verse says that upon seeing Lord Ramachandra, the sages in Dandaka forest desired to enjoy Lord Hari, Krishna. In other words, the sight of Lord Ram's sweet beauty reminded them of Lord Hari, Gopal, their personal object of worship, and they then wanted to enjoy with him. But out of embarrassment, they did not act on that desire, whereupon Lord Sri Ram, who is like a desire tree, gave his mercy to them, even though they had not voiced their request. Thus their desire was fulfilled, as stated by words beginning Te Sarve. By means of their lusty attraction, they became freed from the ocean of material existence, and coincidentally, they got the association of Hari in conjugal love.
Okay, Kaylee, you want to continue?
Hare Krishna. In the present verse of the Bhagavatam, we understand that it was the gopis who had children who were kept forcibly at home. This fact is clear from verses yet to come. Matara Pitara Putraha Yat Patya Surdam Anuvritir Anga and Pati Satavanya Bratir Bandhavan. In his comments on the 10th canto, Srila Kavi Kampurna Goswami also states that those gopis who had children were prevented from going to meet Krishna, as seen from later verses, such as these. Krishna said, "Your mothers, fathers, sons, brothers, and husbands are searching for you." The gopis replied, "But you have advised us that the proper religious duty for women is to faithfully serve their husbands, children, and other relatives. Giving up husbands and sons, we have come to you." Without trying to repeat all his thoughts on this verse, we will give the gist of his purport. Upon seeing the sweetness of Lord Rama, the sages who were worshippers of Lord Gopala immediately became elevated to the mature platform of spontaneous devotion, automatically reaching the state of Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, and Bhava, firm faith, attraction, attachment, and ecstatic devotion. However, they had not yet attained perfection and become completely freed from all material contamination. Nevertheless, Sri Yogamaya Devi arranged for them to take birth in Gokula from the wombs of gopis and become cowherd girls. By associating with Sri Radha and other eternally perfect Nityasiddha gopis, some of these new gopis fully manifested Purva Rag, loving attraction for Krishna, as soon as they reached puberty. This kind of attraction develops even before one meets the beloved.
Krishna. Mati, what is the program here? We're going to continue reading until the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone who hasn't read? I'm trying to keep track of it. But anyone? If you want to read. Okay. So let's go on with Bhahushra. Why don't you read this?
Okay. When these new gopis attained the direct association of Krishna, all their remaining contamination became burned up, and they achieved the advanced stage of praying, sneha, and so on. Even though they were in the company of their cowherd husbands, by the power of Yoga Maya, the gopis remained unsullied by sexual contact with them. Rather, they were situated in purely spiritual bodies that Krishna enjoyed. On the night they heard the sound of Krishna's flute, their husbands tried to stop him, but by the merciful assistance of Yogamaya, the Sadhanasiddha gopis were able to go forth to their beloved together with the Nityasiddha gopis.
Go on.
Other gopis, however, because of not getting the good fortune of associating with Radha and other Nityasiddha gopis, had not achieved the stage of praying, and so their contamination was not completely burned away. They enjoyed intimately with their cowherd husbands and gave birth to children. But a short time later, even these gopis developed their Purva Rag by hankering intensely for the intimate physical association of Krishna, a hankering they acquired by associating with the advanced gopis. Becoming worthy recipients of the mercy of the perfected gopis, they assume spiritual bodies fit to be enjoyed by Krishna.
Okay. Karnath, why don't you finish up for us?
When Yogamaya failed to help them overcome their husbands' attempts to keep them from going out, they felt themselves cast into the worst calamity. Viewing their husbands, brothers, fathers, and other family members as enemies, they came close to dying. Just as other women might remember their mothers or other relatives at the time of death, these gopis remembered the sole friend of their very life, Krishna, as stated in the present verse of the Bhagavatam, beginning with the word antar. It is implied that those gopis were not able to exit because they were held back by their husbands, who were standing before them with sticks in their hands, scolding them. Although these gopis were perpetually absorbed in love for Krishna, at that particular time they meditated upon him and cried out within, "Alas, alas, O only friend of our life, O ocean of artistic skills within the Vrindavan forest, Please let us become your girlfriends in some future life, because at this time we cannot see your lotus-like face with our eyes. So be it. We shall look upon you with our minds. Lamenting in this way, the gopis shut their eyes and meditated deeply upon Sri Krishna.
So this kind of desperate yearning, that's what we need to develop. And if we have any attachment for anything else in this world, it can't happen. It won't happen. Anyone else have something to, now's the time, Jagarini?
I have a little something that I wanted to share. I'm reading this wonderful book I've told you about, Healing Prayers. It's Reflections on Queen Kunti's Prayers. It's written by Bhaktivedanta Swami, and he unpacks Queen Kunti's prayers and talks about the comments by our acharyas on the verses. And this is relating to Sesha's question, which I thought of afterwards. And anyway, so Maharaj says, it's kind of quick. Maharaj says here, it's about humility. And he talks about humility being the actual catalyst for us to be able to feel love of God. The thing holding us back is the ego, is this, not really having full humility and surrender. And what he says quickly, he says, humility is like a digestive enzyme. It helps us to assimilate all the lessons that the Lord generously sends into our lives. As undigested food turns into poison, so lessons that have not been learned turn into resentment, envy, and anger. However, those same lessons can turn into a source of happiness and wholeness should the enzyme of humility help us digest them. This is how humility brings about love of God. And this is Sanatana Goswami goes even further to say that humility is both the cause of prema and its effect. And this is the verse by Sanatana Goswami. I'll just read the English. When humility is fully ripe, love infinitely floods the heart. Therefore, humility and love are always the cause and effect of each other. And just before that, he quotes Sanatana Goswami as saying, an educated person must make conscious effort so that his speech, behavior, and thoughts help him to establish himself in humility and carefully avoid anything that prevents this. So I just thought that was practical advice from Sanatana Goswami, how to, become conscious, because we're talking about purifying ourselves by reading and hearing, right? Things coming in, things we're taking in, but we have to be super careful about what goes out.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Comes out of our minds, right? So I wanted to mention that. I love that.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I think there's another, you wanted to play that recording by Srila Prabhupada Pati before we have this discussion. It's only 2 minutes. Can you get it? But you're muted, just so you know.
So simply one who is absorbed in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, he can immediately understand what is the actual position of the loving affairs of Radha Krishna. Nitya-lila tare spure, sejaya Radha Madhava, sejaya Brajanda Sutopas. And simply by doing that, he becomes eligible to enter into the abode of Krishna. Brajanda Sutta. Brajanda Sutta means the son of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan. He is sure to go to associate with Krishna in his next birth. Gaurangera Sangigane Nitya Siddha Bolimane. Anyone who has understood that the associates of Lord Chaitanya, they are not ordinary conditioned soul. They are liberated soul. Nitya Siddha Bolimane. There are 3 kinds of devotees. One is called Sadhan Siddha. Sadhan Siddha means by following the regulative principles of devotional service, if one becomes perfect, he is called sadhan siddha. Another devotee is called kripa siddha. Kripa siddha means even if he has not followed strictly all the regulative principles, still by the mercy of Acharya or a devotee or by Krishna, he is elevated to the perfectional state. That is special. And another devotee is called Nitya Siddha. Nitya Siddha means they were never contaminated. The Sadhan Siddha and Kripa Siddha was contaminated by material touch and by following regulative principles or by the mercy or grace of some devotee and acharya, they are elevated to the perfectional state. But Nitya Siddha means they were never contaminated. They are ever liberated. So all the associates of Lord Chaitanya, just like Advaita Prabhu, Srivas, Gadadhar, Nityananda, they are Vishnu Tattva, they are all liberated. Not only they, the Goswamis, there are many others, so they are ever liberated. So one who can understand that the associates of Lord Chaitanya are ever liberated, Nitya Siddha Bali Mane, Sijaya Brajanda Sutapas. Immediately he becomes eligible to enter into the abode of Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And today being
I found that lecture, that clip, so much harmonized with the concept that these particular gopis who were sadhana siddha were not able to go to the rasa dance, but by the association of the nitya siddhas, they became purified and developed that intensity of the desire to be with them. So that, like you said, Sama, that longing, that intense longing awakens. We need help cultivating that. And good association. That's what good association does. Madhurya Leela?
Which were the gopis that died because they couldn't go?
They did not die. That would ruin the whole thing. That to have
No,
death right before the
uh,
rasa dance. That they left their body means they left the body there, and with their spiritual body went to dance and be with Krishna. It's a complicated subject matter. Does anyone have a further explanation?
Yeah, it was described that they were replaced by the replicas. We read that purport. So
Well, all of them were replaced, weren't they?
no,
Not just them?
no, doesn't appear so.
Yeah, Haribol.
Yeah.
So the verse there says Jahur Gunamai Deham. So Rupa Goswami is described some of the people who obtain Vrindavan in the association of Radha Krishna do so as what is called Prem Seva Uttara Mukti. They were liberated, came to Vrindavan, they have the darshan of Radha Krishna, but they did not take deep association of the Nitya Siddha Gopis. So Krishna fulfilled their desire. You wanted to be in Vrindavan, wanted to have my association. So they get to Vrindavan, but they don't have a deep sense of a mood like the Nitya Siddhas. Those gopis could not exit their homes. So Jahur Gunamai Deha means they gave up the conception, I'm successful, I made it to Braj, I'm seeing the darshan of Krishna, and accepted the mood that Shamapriya Mataji described of intense longing, and Dhruva Maharaj just described intense longing, I want to be like the Nitya Siddha Gopis. Then Krishna appeared in their heart. So it says, Dhyana Prapta Chuta Shlesha. The super soul itself manifested as Krishna. Shlesh means to embrace. So they embraced Krishna, and then they were freed from that idea that just being liberated in Vrindavan is okay. And they obtained a suitable body to then go to Ras Leela. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says either on a later night, that same time, or in the Nitya Leela.
Okay, there's another thing that it's endless. It's endless. You have the desire to go to Braj. But it
Mhm.
doesn't just stop. It's in personalism, in bhakti. It's not that it just keeps a cap on it there. If you're developed, it's a completely always like ever fresh. So naturally, there's a development of divine love, and due to association and hearing Krishna's flute and seeing him, the next stage naturally comes. Isn't it? It's not that you ever have a cap on your spiritual life. It's ever increasing, and Krishna is always ever increasing, and bhakti is always ever increasing. So you might come with a desire, oh, I got to Braj, but then naturally, wait, I'm here. Where's Krishna? Where's Krishna will awaken.
If you have the association of the Nityasudha gopis.
In Braj,
It appears by this whole purports that's what's being emphasized.
Yes.
That association is rare and so important that it has the power to burn away any vestiges of material fragrance that may still be lingering around that jiva. Although they've already become liberated and attained that body, they haven't attained love and prema. And by that association, that's what's awakened in them.
Yeah, well, actually, they have prem, but just Krishna is so merciful, he satisfied Kubja's desire, what to speak.
Right.
Because she was she only wanted Krishna, but he satisfied even her. So to satisfy a desire to go to Vrindavan and to have the experience of loving Krishna, that's satisfied. But for that love to grow from prem to sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, etc., it requires the association of Radhika and Nityasudha gopis.
Okay, I'm gonna read this from the Lalita Astakam by Rupa Goswami. Is quoted in the Manashiksha. I just read it. Srimati Lalita Devi is a reservoir of divine qualities on whom Mother Yasoda showers her parental love. She is the preceptor of all the girlfriends, Sakis of Radharani, teaching them all about sisterly affection. That's the big one. Her life and soul is Krishna, the younger brother of Balaram, and she is junior also to Srimati Radhika. May Lalita Devi give me the opportunity to serve her. And, you know, these things might be far away, but actually it starts to happen if you have this yearning desire to serve Krishna and to be with Krishna. Then he shows you how to get there through his devotees, through his Nityasiddha devotees. And I particularly like this one, the sisterly love. That is so important, that the devotees love each other and encourage each other and help each other in that way. It's very pleasing. What was that?
Can I just clarify then?
Yes, please.
That Yogamaya did not arrange that every gopi left behind a body that was with their family, and the spiritual body went to the rasa dance?
Some were necessary, some weren't. When we get to that, Pati, some were necessary and some weren't. I mean, they all went to the Rasa Leela in their spiritual bodies. And the replicas were there, as far as I understand. First, it's saying here, the replicas were there with the for the devotees, for the gopis who had children and were enjoying with their husbands. So they had to get purified by deep yearning. And then I'm looking at your approval, Mukund. You want to?
Yeah, Jiva Goswami explained, when the gopis were arranged to be married to other gopis instead of Krishna, because Gargamuni came and told that it's not auspicious because in the future Krishna will have to travel. So they arranged that they be married to other gopis. At that time, on the day that they were to travel to the homes of their in-laws, this is all in Gopal Champu, then the pain that the parents felt and that the gopis felt was so intense that Purnamasi said, listen, let me take them to the homes of the in-laws. En route to the homes of the in-laws, she created what's called a prakosh, like a separate dimension, in which the pure state of the gopis could remain intact, and she delivered duplicates to the homes of the in-laws.
It's a little complicated to understand, but when you hear the name Yoga Maya entering into
Yes.
the picture,
You know
you
it's
can
okay.
understand everything is going on perfectly.
Right.
And we don't have to understand it, but
Yeah.
Purnamasi, she's the one, she takes care of
Yeah.
it all.
And
you
we
know?
did read in the very first verse, Yogamayam Upashvitaha. And
Yes.
he was describing how it's unique that he took complete shelter, Krishna, for her to reconcile and take care of all the different details.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say one thing, how, all of us have been doing this for some time, some less, some more. But when Prabhupada came and gave us the Krishna book, here we are 50 plus years later, having read other works of the Goswamis with Srila Prabhupada's teachings as the foundation. Naturally, these things start to develop. It needs a little juice. We need to have the desire. We need to chant the holy name desperately like there isn't any other way, and there isn't any other way. I heard that from a very good source. There's no other way. So that's this happens. It's natural that this happens. It's natural we should fan it. So just hang on and keep chanting and try to get into these topics as much as we can, no matter where we're at in our spiritual life. We're supposed to get into this. Srila Prabhupada gave us the Krishna book, one of the first books. So now...
Hi, Bodhidhi, I'm going to have to take leave.
Okay.
But I just want to mention one thing. There are 9 billion people on the planet. Somehow or another, we ended up meeting somebody who came from the Rasastali, which is Radha Damodar Temple. And no matter where you were living, what status of life you were living in, etc., you met the direct associate of Radha and Krishna who came here. So
Jai.
just meditate on the fortune.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Somehow or another. How this happened to me? I'm a girl from Brooklyn. He's a boy from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
What? I don't think you get lower on the map. Hare Krishna.
Hey, no, Brooklyn all the way.
Oh, he's another girl from Brooklyn. Hey, Brooklyn, there's a special I want to say.
Too.
Bhaktivat Salam. Hey, Brooklyn's a big place in our line. Brooklyn, the book of the devotees. Okay, here's Madan. Thank you, Mukundaji. Madan?
Just two words, Lala Samai and Loyam. I think those are the words that are, the way they're translated is that intense endeavor for perfection. Is that the correct definition for Lala Samai and Loyam?
Loyam, I know, yeah. Yes. Okay, thank you. All right, well, that's enough to think about for a little while. And I hope that everybody will continue to join us, because this is like, my husband said, we were studying we're up to the 4th canto, and we were going to do the 4th canto. And he said, what am I? I'm getting too old. I got to go to the 10th canto because I'm never going to be able to finish it. And here we are at the topmost stage of the Bhagavatam. So this is really a blessed endeavor. Thank you all.
Actually, what happened, to be more clear, was that from April 2023 until August, 9 different God brothers and God sisters left their bodies during those few months. And we were on the 4th canto, and I actually realized, just like Srila Prabhupada did in 1970, I would not be able to continue all the different cantos to the end at this stage of life. So while we still have a little bit of functional facilities in these bodies, this is the place where we're supposed to go. Spend our concentration on these topics. Thank you very much for your association in that way.
Thank you.
Jai. Thank
you. Hare
Krishna.
Radhe.
Oh, Tisha, beautiful.
This is in the heart. Thank you.